Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Way. Live United. I'm Terry Westerfield. And joining me today, I have friends who are in, and we're going to talk about EITC, Earned Income Tax Credits. I'm going to say it again, EITC, because, folks, this is so important to you and this region, and we're here to tell you why. I want to welcome to the program my dear friend Odessa Adams-Payne. Now, she is the Director of Financial Stability for United Way of Southeast Louisiana. Welcome, Odessa.
Hi, Terry.
And thank you for bringing the guest today. We have some ladies with us who know all about this program. I want to welcome to the program Helen Bougere, who is the site manager for Dillard University. Hi, Helen.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm glad I love that last name, Bougere. And Gail Jenkins. Dear Gail, she is here. She is the site manager for the United Way Delgado single stop site. Hi, Helen. And we're going to explain that, Gail, and we're going to explain what that means to be a single stop site, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. Well, everybody who's tuned in today, let me let you know a little bit about the fact that this coalition, the Asset Building Coalition of Southeast Louisiana, is one of several partners that is involved in this program. Odessa's going to explain who they all are and why we've all come together, because what we're trying to do is promote the Earned Income Tax Credit. Now, this is for eligible taxpayers, and it provides free tax preparation, assistance, and financial education through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or that's VITA program. Now, this all sounds a little complicated maybe when you're first tuning in, but the bottom line is, did you work last year? Did you earn less than $52,000? Because if you did, there's a good chance you're going to get back over $6,000 in this Earned Income Tax Credits. It's money back in your pockets. Odessa, let's start it off, because to some, they're either confused or say, it sounds too good to be true.
But it's not. We actually have a number of different community organizations throughout Southeast Louisiana that provides a valuable service to our low-income taxpayers. What these ladies and gentlemen do is prepare your federal and state taxes, and they e-file them for free. And one of the things that is so good about this year is that IRS has actually allowed the tax preparers to prepare taxes for individuals who earn more than $52,000 a year, as long as it is a simple return and the tax preparer has the tax law knowledge to prepare those refunds.
All right. Now, I said at the beginning of the program that it's about the Earned Income Tax Credits. Here you are explaining it too, but people right now, so many times we hear taxes, people just automatically go and kind of tune out because they're thinking, I don't even want to think about taxes. But that's the problem, isn't it? Because those who are under the threshold for earning are doing a disservice to themselves.
Yes. The Earned Income Tax Program is actually one of the largest anti-poverty programs that the federal government has. And basically, it is a way for our taxpayers to get not only the money that was taken from their tax returns, but this is an additional credit for those taxpayers that help their refunds to increase by as much as $6,000, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Terry.
And that's just amazing, because I know that we have heard in the past, and please, anyone, Helen, Gail, if you'd like to weigh in, I heard that there is over $1 billion sometimes left in the United States, just left out there, that goes back to the government when it could be in individuals' pockets throughout the state, the 50 states. But here in Louisiana, I know it has varied, but I think I remember from last year's returns, we took in about $35 million, but that another $35 million or so was just, again, left out there unclaimed, correct?
Correct. So what our coalition does is we try very hard to market that population of people who are unaware of the Earned Income Tax Credits. We try to target not only first-time filers, but we try to get in markets that are untapped or that are pretty much kind of saturated with paid preparers. a lot of individuals don't know that we're out there and that we can provide this service for them for free.
And that's a very good point, because we're not saying that you should not go to a paid tax preparing service, but we're saying for those who can ill afford to do so, this is not a reason to say, oh, I'm not going to file my taxes. This, again, is not to be afraid of, because this is putting money back in your pocket. And again, Helen, Gail, that's where you two come in.
Correct. Taxpayers really, some first-time taxpayers do not realize that they're qualified to do tax returns. Just because you're dependent on another person's tax return doesn't mean that you cannot file your tax return. You can file your tax return in order to get the money that was paid into Internal Revenue Service, and it's allowed for you to get back on a refund.
And what we find sometimes, some people don't file a tax return and they're actually eligible to claim the EITC, but because they maybe didn't make a whole lot of money and they had no taxes withheld, they don't think that they need to file a tax return. So that's probably where a lot of the missing money is also. They may have earned maybe $6,000 or $7,000 with no taxes withheld, but they still could qualify for the earned income tax credit. So these are some of the people that are missing out on the earned income tax credit.
All right, because right now, Gail, I'm sure there are people saying, well, wait a minute. They didn't have tax withheld. They paid $6,000 to $7,000, and they get money back. Explain that if you can a little bit.
Well, the earning tax credit is for people that work. They worked and they earned $6,000, $7,000. The earned income tax credit amount is on the sliding scale. So even somebody that didn't have any dependents could possibly qualify for earned income tax credit up to $400, maybe $500. We've seen a lot of that at Delgado the last couple of years. We've been marketing it more. And I really think that that's where a lot of the missing money is. Because they work, they could qualify for the earned income tax credit, but they're not aware of it. They think that they had no taxes withheld and they don't come in. So we really need to try to push to get those people to come in.
So it all kind of comes down again to this program and others: education, education,
Yes.
education.
And more, and more, and more education.
And more, and it's really surprising because the VITA program has really been around over 30 years. And we see people that come into our sites, and a lot of them saying, I didn't know this program was here. They didn't know the VITA program exists. Everybody knows basically about the earned income tax credit, but they don't know a lot about VITA. So we really want to push VITA and earned income tax credit.
Well, now, Gail and Helen, let's talk a little bit more about VITA because, again, what the acronym stands for, it's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. And you shared with us, with me, before the program, 30 years you've been doing this.
Yes, I started doing VITA before they had electronic software. We had paper and pencil and calculators. I volunteer on Saturdays at my church. We have maybe about 12 people that actually volunteer. So we actually take our time and provide the service to people that really appreciate it. At my site, we have people that return every year. We've gone from one location to another, and they follow us. And we always try to encourage them to bring other people with us. It's a wonderful, wonderful program.
I was going to say, it just kind of keeps morphing out. Go to churches, you go to schools, you go to places where people interact and can learn a little bit about the program, not be fearful of, become educated about, and this can do so much for them as individuals.
Yes, because I started our VITA program at Dillard University for 20 plus years since we've been doing it at Dillard University. But it just has been word of mouth when we first started. Now as the years progress, we get a lot of partners that want to advertise for us. So now the word is getting out that we have the VITA program going. And we get a lot of folks, just like Gail said, that does not know about the VITA program. And with the advertising we're getting now that people hear of the VITA program, they come in and ask questions.
Well, there are a couple issues I wanted to get to, and Dustin, maybe you can best answer this, because we often hear about the payday loans and some of those kinds of things. So many people are often in a rush to get their tax return done, those who do understand they could get a return, that they don't realize that they could go to VITA and really save money altogether and still get their refund in a timely fashion.
That's correct. We have many of our taxpayers that get enormous, really large returns. Sometimes as high as $11,000, $12,000. And many of them are looking for that instant gratification. And with them getting such a large return, when they have to pay $300 to get their taxes prepared, and if they get one of those rapid anticipation loans, the cost can go as high as $800 and $900. And so because the returns are so large, it doesn't look like a lot of money until maybe some months down the road when they may start thinking about what they could have done with that amount of money. And then also, some of the tax preparers, not all of them, allow individuals to come in with their final pay stub, and they offer those loans, and people are looking for just a little bit of money. But what they don't realize is not only are they spending money that they don't have to spend, that the paid preparers cannot electronically file those returns any sooner than the free Vita sites can. The returns are not going to be accepted until January 31st. So although you may have gotten your return prepared on January 12th, it's not going to go to IRS until January 31st or maybe even later than that.
So it is an even playing field to the extent of the filing. So
Yes.
again, people, but it is. It's either that instant gratification or maybe it's that real need, which here we go back again to why EITC is so important. And
Exactly.
people should file. This is money you can use to help pay your rent, your mortgage, put food on the table, support your family.
Exactly.
And it pumps millions back into the local economy.
Yes.
Because when we as individuals are more independent and self-reliant and can continue to file these taxes, get the money back, what was the old you earned it, keep it, save it kind of thing, that then you buy the goods here in your own community, and it's just going round robin. And so everybody benefits.
Yes.
And Terry, is also an education piece with that also, because some people, they don't know how much they're paying. They know there's a fee to have their return prepared, but it's not actually spelled out, that you're paying $300, $400, $500 to have your tax return prepared. So as we go out and we educate people, this is $500 that you could have kept in your pocket. We find that, sometimes they'll come around. It's also a need piece, but it's an educational piece also.
Like you said, it goes back to spreading by word of
Yes.
mouth, by the pamphlets, by the brochures, by programs like this as much as we can. If anybody, anywhere today who's listening has a question about EITC, I think one of the best things to do is Odessa, called 211?
Yes, call 211. 211 has a list of all of our site locations, along with some of our Super Tax Day events that's going to be coming up very soon. And I just wanted to kind of reiterate what we've been talking about, just to show how hard that the coalition has been working. When I first started out with the coalition, we were just a little bit preparing over about 5,000 returns. Last year, we did over 10,250.
Wow, doubled.
Yes. So this year, every year, we look for our numbers to increase by at least 10%, and it tends to go up just a little bit more. Last year, our great tax preparers helped our taxpayers to get back over $15 million.
Wow.
And overall, since our coalition has been formed, we're over $62 million. So we're trying very, very hard to continue to do the great work that we're doing. And if there's any interested people in wanting to do Vita services sometimes in the near future, they can give me a call.
All right, the first thing we're doing right now is come on, give yourselves a hand because this is amazing. You doubled it. $15 million back into the pockets of hardworking people into this community last year. $62 million overall. So It's just onward and upward, isn't it?
Yes.
And when you say the coalition, again, folks, we want to make sure that you're listening to us. This is the Asset Building Coalition of Southeast Louisiana. And maybe, ladies, if you can talk a little bit about that, because it's a large number of groups, of organizations that have come together for the betterment of individuals in this program, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We actually have about 16 different partners, and if I have a minute, I would
Please.
like to call them by name because
Please
they do
do.
some awesome work. We have AIM IRS, that is a group of retired IRS employees that provide this service. We have Catholic Charities. We have Total Community Action, LaFouche Community for Concerned Citizens. We have Single Stop USA. We have Viet. We have Delgado. We have Our Lady of Holy Cross, Dillard University, Loyola University, Southern University, Tulane University, Central City Renaissance Center, and 4U. Am I leaving out anyone, ladies?
I think that's it. Sounds like it.
But
And
it
if I-
shows this the diversity geographically and also everything else in terms of demographics or where you are and who you are, that anybody can find a place to go.
Yes.
And again, if you don't know, you can call 211, which is our
Yes.
24/7 go-to information and referral line, and you can say, hey, I want to know more about EITC, and they can direct you.
Exactly.
The coalition have 37 sites within 8 parishes
Wow.
in the surrounding New Orleans area.
So there is some place for everybody to go
Yes,
to.
and
Yes.
we're hoping to continue to grow. And I don't want to be remiss about giving our supporters credit. Entergy Charitable Foundation has been one of our major supporters, and the Walmart Foundation and the City of New Orleans, because our mayor participates in doing public service announcements to get the word out. We want to give credit to 211, who provides all of this information to people that call in for information about where the Vita site is nearest to them.
I was going to say, and when you talk about Entergy, too, they've been such a good partner on so many levels. And because their mission, one of the things that they have with their foundation, is they are really fighting poverty.
Yes,
and
it
again,
is.
as you mentioned, this is the largest program to date
Yes,
to fight poverty.
absolutely.
Because it helps people gain that independence, especially if we go back to the, and not to get too sidetracked here, but for those of you who've tuned in, may have heard Odessa before, because she talks about IDA, which is the Individual Development Account. And what's really nice about EITC, you go to visit Helen or Gail or others working these, is it 37 sites you said?
37 sites.
37 sites in the 8 parishes. Maybe you choose that when you know you're going to get that tax refund, that you do save it. Maybe you put it in a savings account and you're going to help get ready, get prepared to then be able to buy, maybe put a down payment on a house.
Correct.
Or a car or something else that you know is going to help break that cycle of dependence and poverty.
Correct. Many of, and I don't want to get sidetracked either, of the people that come to Vita sites and get their taxes returned have used their earned income tax credits to open up what you call individual development accounts, and have put down payments on houses and started businesses and purchased vehicles that could get them to better paying jobs. So that is one of the opportunities that people can take advantage of when they get those large refunds from the earned income tax credits.
Well, now that we have everybody out there listening and they're all excited about going to file their taxes at a Vita site, again, Gail, great information, or Helen, 37 and 8 parishes. How do they go about doing it? Do you make an appointment? Is it kind of, I hate to use the term, kind of a cattle call? Everybody just shows up? How does it work? What's the best thing to do?
Some of the sites are work by appointments, and the majority of sites are walk-in sites. But you can call the 211 number and get the closest location to you, and they can give you the information if it's a appointment or walk-in site.
And what do you do once you get there, whether it's once you've called and whether it's to make an appointment or it is a walk-in? There are certain things I know, prerequisites that you should bring along, right?
Yes.
Information that you're going to require.
Yes, the information that we love the taxpayers to bring is the taxpayers bring a photo ID, okay, and all your Social Security cards, the taxpayers and the dependents' Social Security cards. The taxpayer must know the date of birth of themselves and the dependent. You must have all your wage income documents, such as W-2, 1099, SSA, Social Security documents, any documents that you get income from, such as your 1099 retirement, so that's the 1099 or a 1099 miscellaneous if you are self-employed. Okay, if you receive interest and dividends from banks, you must bring in that information. If you have a child that's in daycare service, you must have the address and the IT number, and that sort of thing. And if it should be a refund, if you want your refund direct deposit, please have your bank account number and your bank routing number. And we prefer that you bring a check with you so that we can pick up the correct number, because we don't want that refund bouncing back to Internal Revenue Service. We want to be accurate as possible.
And get it right to the individual.
Right.
Well, you said a couple of things here that are interesting right off the bat, I think about, because so many times you hear about folks who are in Social Security, especially the elderly, and they say, oh, I don't know why I should pay tax. I can barely make it by. I'm just getting Social Security. But this is another reason why.
Well, the information is kind of vague when we're talking to individuals that receiving Social Security. If you see receiving Social Security alone, it's not necessary to do a tax return. But if you're receiving other income with Social Security, then you may be required to do a tax return.
And that be, as you said before, like maybe a little pension or a dividend from somewhere else or something. Doesn't mean you're making a whole lot of money, but it does mean that you have to, again, meet these requirements.
Yes, ma'am.
And, which I know that United Way's Women's Leadership Council lobbied so far, advocated so much for, child care tax credits. That's a biggie, too, because people might not think about that.
Right.
And tell me, how does that work? Because if you have children under a certain age who are in preschool or child care centers, correct?
Correct. The child has to be under the age of 12. That's in a eligible daycare, and that money that they pay the daycare may result into a daycare credit.
And that's great. Again, that's a benefit to
Right.
so many working parents out there.
And it could also be that the child may go to before or after care also.
I was gonna
That
say, and that's why
qualifies also.
the up to 12, because,
That qualifies
again, that's an
also.
expense if mom or
Yes.
dad or both have to pay it.
Yes.
Well, let's also go back to some of the requirements, because we said earlier in the show that you might be able to make as much or a return for $6,000 and $6,044. But let's give all the statistics for anybody who's listening out there, because that's the 2013 maximum credit, and that has criteria too, correct?
Yes.
So that would be with three.
That's the maximum amount with three
Okay.
or more children.
All right.
Yes.
And if you can, then please go ahead, Gail,
Yes.
and give it to us for all the rest of them.
If you have two or more children, the maximum amount would be $5,372. And if you have one child, the maximum amount would be $3,250. And with no children, you could qualify to up to $487.
And again, that is a nice chunk of change for anyone. But I'm thinking, for a family who's making under $52,000 with 4 children, that's not a lot when you think about all that has to go. And again, paying rent or mortgage and utilities and child care and just food on the table and everything else, you can be pretty stretched. So that extra money coming back is going to be a really, really big help to you, your family, and again, your community. So let me ask you, ladies, what is sometimes the most often asked question of you about EITC or about VITA? Do you have one that people ask you when you're helping out at the church, or Helen, when you're out helping somewhere?
No, they just want to know. Most of the time, they just want to know, is it free?
Yeah, and a lot of times we find that, especially the new people, if it's their first time, and a lot of times the ones that repeat, they are just so thankful. They are really, really thankful that we are there to provide the service for them. Sometimes last year, and it's kind of funny, we had a guy that came straight from work on a Saturday. He got off from work and he came to the church, excuse me, at 6 o'clock that morning.
Oh my goodness.
At Franklin Avenue, they come early. We don't start until 8:30, but they're there early. So he fell asleep in his car.
Oh.
And when he woke up, the people had came and they had signed in ahead of him because they start their own sign-in sheet.
Oh.
So he thought he was getting there early, but everybody had signed in ahead of him. But we felt sorry for him and we took him ahead of some people. They didn't mind. They knew he was there sleeping.
And he was that anxious.
Yeah, but they're just so grateful. That's the biggest thing that we get. And they always, a lot of times they want to give us something, or pay us. And we don't take anything for the service, that we provide, but they're just so thankful. And that's the biggest gratification. It makes us feel good also.
I was going to say, again, because VITA is an acronym for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. Over 30 years, well over 20 years for you. I mean, Gail, Helen, this is just something amazing. I know it makes you feel good inside. You said you love to give back to your community. But do you ever think about a little kind of maybe that tingle about, wow, look how much we are getting back? When I hear figures like $62 million coming back to this region in these last few years, this is something really, really special.
It really makes me want to do more.
It does.
To try to reach more people, the people that, the people that go to the paid preparers, we really try to educate them. That's my passion too. Not to take anything away from paid preparers because there's a lot out there, but just to have that money to stay in our community. That's my passion.
Great. And please, Odessa, because I think I see this woman from early in the morning till late at night. She's out on a weekend. She's doing everything. You're kind of the phantom. We know you're there, but you're always working so hard, so quickly, in, out, in, out. This is the busiest time of year for you, too.
It really and truly is, because basically what I do is I coordinate all of the supplies and the services and the paperwork that I'm responsible for sending to Internal Revenue Services for the grant that helps us to provide this service. And so it is a monumental task, kind of overseeing all of the marketing materials and making sure that all of the sites get everything that they need and I get all of the paperwork that I need. So it does keep me very, very busy. But I have a great group of ladies that have my back on almost anything that I do, and two of them are sitting here with me, and two are at United Way's office. That's Chiquita and Michelle, and I also have two other people that help out a whole lot, that Miss Gwen Ricks and Monica Reed, that help me out throughout the year to do all of this great work that we do, so I don't do it alone. And I get some really good feelings myself, because it does make a tremendous difference in people's lives. When you see a person has worked all year and have a goal set for themselves of becoming a homeowner, and the great work that we do has a big part in that person meeting that goal, there is a special feeling, and it makes you feel all warm and tingly inside. So the work that we do is not done in vain, and it's done with a lot of love and a lot of care.
Well, ladies,
Can I
please,
mention
yes.
one thing that we didn't talk about? All of our volunteers are IRS certified.
And very important.
Very important.
Thank you for saying that.
Very important. Every year we have to recertify through IRS.
So you know that when you go to one of these VITA sites,
Yes.
you're getting good folks such as yourself, Gail,
Yes.
Helen, and others that are just, they're top of their game, and they're doing all they can, again, to benefit the individuals in the community. Ladies, we are out of time. I want to thank you all so much. And one more thing, again, Odessa, let's say 211. Remember that number, everyone, because if you have any questions about a VITA site that's near you, where you to go, the hours of operation, call 211. I want to thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the income tax credit and about VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Odessa Adams-Payne, who is the Director of Financial Stability at United Way of Southeast Louisiana, Helen Bougier, who is the Site Manager for Dillard University, and Gail Jenkins, who is the Site Manager for the United Way Delgado Single Stop Site. I'm Terry Westerfield, and for United Way, live united.